Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Anonymous, and in this channel we talk about gang stalking, about manipulation, about perception, and about my experiences with gang stalking. If you have seen my previous videos, I'm sure that you already know that I was gang stalked for many years. And just until a couple of days, I have come out of that perception. And I am reestablishing my reality to the one that we all share. Now, as this happens, I am actually trying to make new observations because I honestly find it extremely fascinating that I was able to maintain this perception of reality that is obviously not true. However, the obviousness was not apparent to me. Like, I have a common sense, but something was done to me, a new concept, an idea that completely, literally shook my world and turned it upside down. And it turned it upside down in a way that was harmful to me. So I did not keep that perception willingly. I kept it because it's what made sense to me at the time. So, the concept that was introduced to my life was literally things that can be perceived one way or another. That was the concept. For example, when I was in the beginning of gang stalking, the freaking, how do you call it? The door slamming, the car door slamming. In the beginning, before gang stalking, they were literally only car doors slamming. But then all of a sudden, my perception of that changed. Even the movement of the arm got changed. And all it took was to look at one person being mad at me and getting too close to my car, trying to look through my car window and slam a car door when I was sleeping. One person. Now, in the beginning of gang stalking, there was when I was bombarded with these things. For example, when it appeared that, when someone pretended like they were going to steal something, but they didn't. Where someone pretends to, at work, when someone pretended to be a thief. How do you pretend to be a thief? You look suspicious. You act a little cracky. And you just end up buying things. So he looked like he was gonna steal, but he was a customer. Also, when someone can appear to, how do you say, when someone is giving you a part, asking you for a car part, right? And then it's a difficult part, and so you see them grin, like they're almost enjoying it, because you are struggling. So it feels like you are struggling. Well, you're struggling, and it feels like he's laughing at you because of his face. So then, because of that, your mind starts analyzing the situation, and it starts going, so this person is smiling because I am struggling to find this car part. Is there a possibility that this person just is doing this on purpose to see me struggle? Because the grin is out of place. Why would anyone be grinning? And not only that, but when I found it, they just look upset and they kick the counter. So now that changes the interpretation of kicks of the counter. And not only that, but they might also say, damn it, along with the kick of the counter. But the truth is that he really did need that car part. He really wanted you to find it. However, the fact that he was pretending to not want you to is beginning to mess up your perception of people that give you auto parts that are hard to find. So this situation causes like a trauma. It causes a trauma where even though you were doing your job, even though the person wanted the part, your perception of that event was actually changed. Now, so how do you say this? So when, let's say that hard to find auto part happens a lot, and the kick of the counter, that happens a lot, right? So now when I'm like helping someone, any person, after this event has happened to me a lot of times, I am trying to find this part, and I don't even think about this person actually trying to give me a hard time. However, the person or someone around kicks a counter or makes a banging sound that sounds like the counter getting kicked. Perhaps someone plays a heavy auto part on the counter and they made like a banging sound. So what that's going to happen is that banging sound is going to recall the trauma or the negative emotions, the anger when the initial gang stalking was happening, when all those experiences where people just wanted an auto part, but they pretended that they were giving you the auto part, that they were asking you to make you struggle. Those emotions are recalled the moment that you hear the banging on the counter, because that actually makes sense now. Like, now I understand now I understand the entire process, because there are things that I remember clearly that really did happen, like the situation with the counter. That actually happened a lot. I remember that what still happens is that whenever someone says like a word such as like bottle or charge, or there's actually just like a couple of words that actually like were actually had a memory, that I had a negative emotion, a memory attached to them. And Let's see. Negative words that I had negative emotion. Give me 1 second. And whenever I hear these voices or these words, my body feels a negative emotion. Like it just feels negative, like in my body. Just like, and I know that because my mind now is out of sync with the entire gang stalking operation. However, my body isn't. My body is still feels like it's getting gang stalked. So whenever I hear a word, like bottle, for example, I feel almost. I just feel negativity in my body, even when there's no negative emotion. So there was an initial programming before. However, because of the sensitizing with the bangs, the 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 new, how do you say, not the exposure, but the pushing of things that can be seen in one way or another, and with the accompaniment of words or sounds, and the abundance of things that can be perceived one way or another, you know because of all these things that themselves have no meaning, but because of the experiences that you have had, where these sounds and these words and these situations have been in, have been pretty much in because of those experiences that you have had, that includes those two things: the words, the situations, and the sounds. You immediately start, whenever the two or three of them, are put together in a situation where can be seen either way, such as helping a customer that isn't being mean to you, and all of a sudden this person just kicks the counter. It brings all those memories, and then you just go into a trance. And your perception changes. You start seeing everyone as someone negative, as someone who is out to get you, even if they're not, even if it's obvious to everyone. It is not going to be obvious to you, because your perception of a lot of situations has been twisted to perceive it as an attack. So that means that in the beginning of this, I was actually attacked. But I was attacked in ways that can be denied. So, because now I am actually deprogrammed, like I am back I'm back. And this means that if they want to continue having me be that way, they have to redo all the programming again. They have to do all the other situations that were negative. Although they have to turn all my perception of reality again. Which means that now is the perfect opportunity to always keep my phone here at work, recording. Because now I'm normal again. The reason that my mind imagined, people behind me swaying my car, was because when I was sitting in my car, that actually happened. I've told you, I've seen the people. Those things that happen are way too specific for me to just pull them out of my ass. So whenever I am in like a parking lot, right, and I'm like trying to nap, or I'm just doing this, and let's say that it's a two-story, and I'm on the second floor, so a car drives by, and you know how the floor shakes. So I am going to immediately, maybe someone's moving my car. But if I'm tired, if I'm exhausted, and if my mind is weak, that means it's really easily for me to automatically make the assumption that there's someone behind my car swaying it. And my mind is going to create, the damn it, or the pushing of the car. And I'm telling you this because I still here and there get the pushing of the car. God, I have even seen people running in like their shadows. So it was literally a programming of the mind. However, they were done with the programming. And after all those experiences, I went into work and everyone was just like waiting for me to connect, or to go into that mode of perception, into that mode where everyone is against me. I understand now what happened. So there were times where, well, like the past week, where I would go into work, and I would hear like my coworker putting away truck, but my mind will automatically start assuming that those sounds were for me. My mind would automatically start assuming that there was someone looking behind the curtain of the batteries. My mind would I would go back. My consciousness would move to the back of my head, and all my perceptions would twist, and it would have me living in this reality that was no longer. But that was because of the previous experiences that were imposed on me. Let's call it programming. That's exactly what it was. And that's why, I guess, my mind just automatically began making these connections that were in there. It wasn't for no reason, but it was because something happened where a connection like that became true. So then my mind began just making connections where similar events happen. They only need to do that one time. And after that, your mind will literally just start making all these connections. Because you start making assumptions. Because you have been exposed, to because you had experiences and traumas, that reality was true at some point. But then there was just a point in time where I just guess I was so traumatized that my own mind literally began creating these events. And thankfully, none of that is permanent. But it took so long for me to come out of it. And it was something, I guess it was something to do. It wasn't, I don't want to say that it was like, even though it was unpleasant, I don't want to say that it was a negative experience. Because of that experience, I was able to literally replace all my thoughts were with thoughts that are helpful. So now, even though the programming can be done again, I cannot be put in that position again because I already understand how that worked. I already understand why the conditioning is like it is. And because of that, I won. And for that same reason, I have more material to talk about. Because of that same reason, I can literally, well, I understand now. Gang stalking. I understand it now. And the introduction of things that are one way, no, that appear to be one way, but are another, is the thing that now just how do you say, things that are one way, that can be interpreted one way or another, is pretty much not a perception that I decided. It was a perception that was, it was previous experiences that I had with things that can be perceived one way or another. And those experiences made me have negative emotions. So inevitably, whenever I would encounter these situations that could be interpreted in two ways, my mind would automatically assume the negative one because of the negative experiences that I had before. So it was the conditioning. Like, now that I'm talking about this, I still hear the voices, say shut the fuck up, even though there's no one here. Like, those voices have to come from somewhere. Because, and this is how they did it. There was a point in time where I was making videos, or where I was talking about this, and literally someone had to say, shut the fuck up. And, this happened so many times that it is not because of a trauma. It is an actual mechanical thing that happens. Like a literal programming. So that is why, let's say that when I was looking for something, and I found it, I would actually hear my coworkers say, "Damn it!" So let's say that now I would lose something, and then I would find that because it was the experience, I am gonna hear the voice, "Damn it!" I saw, someone like swaying my car from the back. I experienced that a whole lot. And that was actually the programming. The actual experiences were the actual programming. The result was me living the rest of my life, sitting in my car, and whenever I would feel my car sway, my mind would immediately believe that there is someone in the back swaying my car. And my mind would, if I'm making a video, my mind would play, "Shut the fuck up." So it is a literal programming of your entire body. So like, if I'm sitting down and my car sways, I will immediately start feeling like I'm zoning out. Like I'm not here. I would zone out, and then I would start interpreting, shadows as someone going like that, because I actually lived those. And that's the truth, is that there is an actual programming that is imposed on targets. But we think that the programming, we don't know that we're being programmed. We are literally just like hanging out, and people are gonna do shit to you that is unpleasant. And so, like, when you're like going around and you live things that are similar, your mind starts recreating this. Like, that explains, why I'm like sitting down, and all of a sudden because I'm sitting down in my car, and then all of a sudden my body starts shaking, like if I'm like sitting down in my car, even though I'm sitting on a chair. Like, my body literally starts creating those sensations. So that's what it was. It all makes sense now. That's just, well, that's the secret of gang stalking. That's it. That the harassment, the actual harassment, is everyone is in on it. And when they're done, you leave, and the world itself puts you in a trance. The sounds, the bangs, the voices. And when you're in that trance, you start interpreting the reality as if you were still getting gang stalked, even when there's no one there. Even when there's people who do not have bad intentions to you. When people are not having any type of bad intentions to you, you will interpret them as them being bad people. Additionally, when give me 1 second. So that explains everything. Gang stalking is only real for so long. But when the programming is done, you're just meant, it just kind of runs itself. It feeds off itself. The only reason I have been able to reprogram myself was because the only reason that I have been able to deprogram myself was because I have noticed the inconsistencies in reality and what goes on in my head. For example, when I would see someone, I did notice that that the person behind me was talking about me. However, they were looking at a product, and they were not looking in my direction. And they were even talking about the things that about the smile on my face that I had when I looked at that product. So that in itself makes no sense. So I was wondering, why are there so many inconsistencies? And the more I observed, the more the inconsistencies became obvious. And that's the truth, is that the actual harassment happens in the beginning of gang stalking. And then the program just keeps you in that state of mind. Like, that's why, I woke up sometimes and I felt like I was just like here. Like, all of a sudden I was just like at work. Like, everything was on autopilot. Like, my mind was stuck somewhere. And I don't remember a lot of it. I just remember that my mind was like, I was here, like I was at work, but I was fighting images. I have been replacing images, memories of getting gang stalked with beautiful ones. Since I began doing that, the programming that gang stalkers did is going away. The only memories that I had, the only things that I used to think about was gang stalking. That is because I was programmed that way. Until I began changing the meaning to everything. I snapped out of it. Now I cannot even go into that trance, because now when I'm at work, I'm literally just saying the words, or saying, I'm incredible, I'm amazing, the gang stalking interpretation of reality is erroneous, or something along those lines. And also, I keep telling myself, I am obsessed with getting fit. I'm obsessed with getting money. I'm obsessed with getting fit. That way, whenever they do any type of imposition of trying to get on my nerves, because some people still are, when they do that, I keep these thoughts in my head, and I try to keep beautiful images of myself. That way, whenever I am I'm getting triggered, the bad memories are actually replaced with good memories. They are replaced with thoughts that are helpful to me. And that way, they're still going to be trying to do the programming. They still are. However, whenever I am encountering an experience that can be interpreted as being gang stalked or not, in my head, I keep repeating to myself that gang stalking is the wrong interpretation of reality. Gang stalking is the wrong interpretation of reality. Gang stalking is the wrong interpretation of reality. That way, it doesn't work. That way, whenever they're trying to trigger me, to make my emotions come up, my emotions will come up, but it's not gonna pull up the thought that they want to pop up. They're actually gonna help me stay grounded, regardless of how hard they mess with me. I'm gonna have to start saying, I'm not annoyed, I'm not annoyed, and I'm not annoyed, and gang stalking is the wrong interpretation of reality, and I am obsessed with fitness, I'm obsessed with making money. That's it. While I have this experience. Now, I'm gonna keep my phone here because they calm down and they disguise everything. They cannot go hard if that is not the case. They cannot go hard if I have my phone here. Anyways, well, I have to get ready for work. I will see you guys later. So that's it. That is the truth of gang stalking, is that the actual gang stalking experience is a programming of your mind. The gang stalking experience actually taught me how to program my mind. It literally taught me how to program my mind. So I feel like now I'm unstoppable. And I'm going to use the actual gang stalking operation to my benefit. Where the more they push, the more grounded I get in reality. And I'm super excited to see this happen. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Please like, share. Just FYI, this channel is to actually help people who are getting gang stalked. It is also for you to see the reality of it and to understand what actually goes behind it. Yeah. I wasn't crazy. I was just programming. It's insane. But at least now we can understand how it's done. At least now we actually are able to see the reality of it. And that way I can help pass along the secrets of how to program your mind, how it is, how all this is actually being used for people to fuck people up, and how you can actually combat it and actually use it to your benefit. Gang stalkers literally taught me how to program my mind, and I'll teach you how to program yours. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I love you. Please like and share. I'll see you guys later.